Any story share.
Looks like a grass truck.
It's too bad the front of that one shows Oh, keep going. There you go.
That's
So in front of the truck, that's where he stood on. Going across farmer fields, you'd have two guys standing up there in front of the truck. And
Leaning against that rail.
And when we first
Oh,
started,
that
there
was a
was
good welder.
and there was no straps or nothing like that. So you had to like brace yourself, you had the hose in your hand, and you like had to have hold of it.
One can for the hose, one for himself.
Oh, no, that is an accident.
Cornfields, crossways, and
Actually,
I'd hate to guess how many times you watch the guy beside you almost go over the top.
firefighters.
it's one of the worst things when you're driving it because you're trying to go as fast as you can, but as slow as you
Even
can.
that, yeah.
Is that truck still in service?
It's not normal,
No.
very different.
And that was another truck that actually came repurposed from somebody. And that we put the box on the back of it.
One of the first ones was in the city garage,
Yeah.
needs to be restored.
So what's the years?
I was gonna do that, never got around to it.
One of the
I
first.
don't know when they bought it, they had it when we got there in '98.
And it was old then.
Get that truck. I was gonna say,
I ran across this when I was looking at this.
And that was our tanker when Rob and I started. The water truck came from, was it Bagby or something like that? That they used it as a grain truck and then the fire department got it somehow.
was, on the side there, it says 911, that must have been a game changer when that, or not so much.
Yeah, Russ, when was that, do you know when 911 was developed?
Well, 911 when we came on was, 10 phones rang, so you talk to the person.
Right, but the actual 911 system, do you remember when?
Oh, you mean when we got Consolidated Communications?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, the support in this area in our territory is tremendous for both fire and ambulance. You know, which we really appreciate, but so I go to enough council meetings to know that funds are limited, there's only so much, so the rest of it, we wouldn't have this ambulance, I don't think, if it wasn't for Blackhawk Casino.
Yeah.
They give us 90,000, I think it was.
When you started, was there a real ambulance? Or was it a station wagon?
What's that one?
That was when you started?
Yeah.
And is that a real ambulance? Built as
Well, it says so right on it.
You can read, right, Dennis?
Looks like it also says Econoline.
I remember what you're talking about now, that snub nose that you called.
You remember it?
Yeah.
Good.
And that was actually a van that we outfitted ourselves.
Wasn't your mom one of the first EMTs? Marie Knebel, she went to everything.
So we got 3 generations there? Or is there more?
Yeah, Darren doesn't live here anymore, he's not a volunteer anymore, so, yeah. And your generation, Jerry, but you're, so maybe we can tell that.
I drove that ambulance up to Liebert's, 3 miles north. Used to be a Liebert, Raymond Liebert, I think. He was good, they were good friends, and Norman and Clubine. So we loaded somebody up, I don't know if it was him or her, but anyway, Norman was gonna ride along. So he got in on the passenger side, and there's a spotlight on, there was 2 spotlights on it. He got in on the passenger side, and I don't know what he was doing, but he hit his head on that control. So he started bleeding like a stuck. So we ended up with 2 patients in the back.
Liebert's, that was at the corner of C-57 and Canfield, right?
Yeah, just
Looked like a barn almost.
It was a brick house. Or,
Yep.
Yeah, that's where it was. And I think Norm lived down on C-57, but he farmed it and they were good. So he was just trying to go along, but he ended up being a patient. Needed stitches.
He ended up being in a worse position than anybody, huh?
So we ask these guys, but Russ, how do you deal with knowing that odds are pretty good when you show up, it's gonna be somebody you know?
It's, you know, let's see, it's more the opposite. It's just that the community appreciates somebody showing up that they know. I don't know why that is, but we hauled somebody in last week that had a stroke, and I saw his wife at the hospital yesterday, and she said, I was so glad that I knew who was coming to take care of my husband. You know, it's just that something about. I don't know.
Familiar face.
Yeah, it's, you know, in a big city, you don't know who's helping you, but in a small town like this, you know, you can look at someone and say, okay, I've known him since kindergarten, I trust him, I know, you know, and I think that's what a lot of times they feel confident and the ability of who's responding, just by saying, okay, I know Russ, I've known Russ, I'm okay now, you know, instead of somebody that said, I don't know who this person is.
Well, if it's your kid too.
Yeah.
Well, like Julie was saying at the football game, but I don't think I was actually there, but everybody converges. We had out of church, pastor, while he's up there during the service, was having an episode, and all these people just materialized out of the audience. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. Yeah, it is reassuring.
Just throw these pictures on here and you guys can, if you have a story, let
Yeah.
me know.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, well, I
Do you want to talk about your shirt?
Nope.
I know you keep coming back. You were out once, weren't you? Now you joined me back in?
When we lived south of Dewar, everybody probably knows where we live, a mile and a half south of Dewar. One day Larry Tabor's house caught on fire. They lived down on Independence Avenue. And Barb and I went down there, and I talked about the door getting taken off the fire station. Did I bring that up, or have you heard me tell that story?
No.
Well, when Barb and I first got on, why the firemen used to have a supper at Red, it's out on
Red carpet.
Red Carpet. Every once in a while, have a formal get together, and they get telling stories. So anyway, so I wasn't on when this happened, but downtown, why those doors opened with the rope, you know, pulled it down. So there was a fire down in West Sycamore somewhere. They said who was driving, but I went to the boat. But anyway, he took off out of the station, and that rope caught on the truck, pulled the door right out on top of the fire truck, and he went down Sycamore Street, going to the fire with the door.
With the door hanging.
Was it Rob? It's probably Rob.
It was my time.
It was a generation ago.
So we asked some of these guys.
No.
We can find out from the county.
February of
I have
1968.
to take off.
Well,
See, I'll bet that's not here though.
throughout the country, it said.
What was the answer?
We're
Well,
not.
that's probably when.
February 1968 was.
Not here, though.
Not here, no.
Well, I think maybe 911 was, but not the Consolidated Dispatch.
No. Consolidated Communications in Blackhawk County. Because Waterloo had their own, Cedar Falls had their own, and then it consolidated with Blackhawk County.
Cause she used to call 911 and it would ring in 10 phones, but somebody would have to answer it, you know, and you could hear people picking up. Then when you answered it, you talked directly to the patient, cause I remember George Myroff called one night and said, better get out here, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Wow.
And then
Well, that's
somebody
where,
had to go to the
yeah, that's
station.
where I live now.
Hit the sirens. Activate the sirens. I used to do that. I used to. do that.
1994.
Okay.
Black Rock County, established in 1994.
That's not that long ago.
So back to the photo, tell us what a tanker does.
It, hauls water.
Is that all?
Yep.
All water.
No, firefighting?
So in
Our
the,
newer tanker now has firefighting ability on it, but that tank was just purposely just to haul water.
And was that purpose built there, you think, or was that converted?
No, I believe it was,
no, that was, the tank was built. So that truck held 1,500 gallons of water. And on top of that truck, there was a metal frame and a canvas tank. You drag it off the back, open it up, and dump that water in there.
Mhm.
And hopefully, and then head back to town and fill it again. Hopefully you got back before they used up what you had the first time.
Did the old water tower keep up with the fire trucks?
Oh, yeah.
we would, if we had a working fire, they would automatically, whoever was working for the city would kick on the water tower pumps to make sure that,
Wow.
What year did the fire station get built down here?
The new,
What was your question?
the new fire station, when did that go up?
This one,
Yeah.
15 years ago, it was after the last flood, because we moved all the city buildings up.
yeah, probably 15 years ago,
Was it after the 08 tornado?
It was before the
Yeah.
tornado.
No,
It was after the last
Yeah.
flood.
It was before the tornado,
Cause that was no way.
yeah. It was,
yeah. Oh, yeah, it was, because that's when they decided to build that room.
right, safety room.
Yeah, and we came in '02 and it was,
Take stuff out of school, came down and took stuff out of people's basements.
So, can somebody interpret that, what does that mean?
Hazardous materials.
What's the northeast eye?
Northeast side.
What's the response, is it just you? I mean, that sounds like more than.
No,
one.
it's, everything in red there is covered by the Northeast Iowa Response Group.
Okay, does that mean you gotta go to the Minnesota border?
No.
No.
That means that the Northeast Iowa Response Group does, which is based on Mill Street Water and Fire.
Right.
Correct.
They have to go to that. But there's also a group out of Cedar Rapids where Fairbank is part of their Hazmat, the methanol plant.
Oh, for the ethanol.
So is that sort of a mutual aid district?
I think there's a 2080 agreement, isn't there, Monica? With Hazmat,
I'm sure there is.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
because the city signs that.
Support for that group of people to help them gear up, decontaminate.
And those hazmat people, is that all they do, or is it more than firefighters, or is it black ops? Where are those professional?
Mostly.
Mostly Waterloo.
Yeah, they're
Mostly full-time.
Mostly water.
Gotcha.
Well, we were just, all the, usually the rurals are strictly trained in support of that group. Would that be?
That's correct,
Yeah.
So this is maybe off topic, but is Cedar Falls still doing the combined safety officer?
Yeah.
How's that working? I mean, they're still doing it, is it working?
That's a matter of opinion.
Yeah. Depends on which side of the subject you stand on.
That seems like an awful lot to have to learn.
Yeah,
They're making it work, apparently.
yeah, making us violent.
Cause our sister-in-law lives in Norwalk, and they looked at it, and I think they switched to it, and they did it for 2 years, and said, no, this ain't gonna work for us.
Different skill level.
So, old fire station, what else can we see here?
Well, let's identify, so Ann Clubine,
And who,
Wanna blow it up, Teresa?
Is that Bonnie?
Nita
Bonnie
Bonnie,
Stadler,
Right?
Bonnie Ridley.
in the white, and in the dark.
Dear,
What are you doing?
I know.
So you, Russ, on the left?
Nope.
I'm behind Bonnie.
Bob Stephen?
In the front row is Kyle Carlson next to Bonnie.
Ah,
That's Russ.
Butch Mixdorf, Claire, Weber,
Bea Michelsen.
Bea
Tom
Michelsen.
Mickelson.
Or B. Weber.
It's
Bea
Barb.
Weber.
It's Barb in the front
Barb.
row.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who's,
Kyle Carlson,
okay, and,
Bonnie Sadler,
Russ.
Reichen.
That's Russ
that's
right
Russ,
there.
okay. And,
Bagby.
and,
Barb Suter.
okay,
Monica.
Jack Suter. No,
that's Doug Miller.
Doug Miller.
Jack Suter's behind.
Jack Suter.
Yep,
Okay,
it's Mike, isn't
was
Jerry.
Jack a deputy
Jerry.
yet when he was doing this? Russ?
it? Well, I don't remember.
what's
Jerry
Jerry?
Knebel.
Okay,
That's Joe Chicory.
okay.
Well, I don't have any idea who that is.
Yeah.
Monica, do you?
It's not familiar to me.
So we don't know.
I
He's
don't
a
know,
great
I don't know when
friend.
that picture was taken.
Okay, you have Sigrid?
Huh? You really don't realize.
My son-in-law was on there for a while, but I don't know if that's him or not. I can't remember.
The tall guy.
Brad Burrow.
I'll tell a B. Mickelson or B. Weber story. So back, probably about time, 93-ish. We were living where we're living now. We were renting out the house that Dennis has, where Dennis is now.
These are the
And we had
original fire
a renter
department.
bail and left a huge mess. So he had, there must have been 30 garbage bags in the garage. And I had a burn barrel there. Well, the burn barrel was full, so I thought, well, I better burn that, and then I can burn garbage bags. But it was so full that I had a whole broom handle and I was stirring it up to keep it burning, not knowing that there was a perfume can in there, and it exploded in my face. And I was there all alone, drove all the way home, had a cold bottle of pop, so I was holding that on my face. I had no idea what I looked like. Well, it burnt my face. My wife walked in, she said, I didn't know which was worse, the look of you or the smell of you. So she called the ambulance. And Bea Michelsen, I'm laying on the kitchen floor, Bea Michelsen walks in, she said, I'm gonna cut your sweatshirt off. I said, Bea, don't you dare, this is a brand new UNI sweatshirt, don't you dare. And she just, never forgave her for that.
And a side note, just so everybody knows, Rob's nickname on the fire department was Flash.
So who we got here?
This is the picture I found at my house. These are some of the original fire department members.
Claude
On the left
McMillan.
is Claude McMillan, Claire Bailey, Lynn Shimp, Ambrose, and then Carl Myers. The date I have on the back is 1980, so probably they were in a parade. I think this is the 47 truck, so
Yeah.
they're hanging on the back of it.
That's awesome. Long retired, I hope, by then.
What's in the background? Is that the co-op?
Yeah,
Co-op.
co-op building.
What's that building on the right, with the door?
As part of the co-op building. I think Woodsenberg used to have his office in there or something like that when I was a little
Sounds
kid.
right.
That's torn down, but I think that big building is still there.
Yeah, that big building's
Yeah,
still there.
So Glenn Shimp is Chris's mom, right?
You said the 47 truck?
I believe that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Is that the original?
Yeah, that's the original one. It's down in, city building now.
That's a good one.
I just went by some little fire department, some little town, and they actually built a separate building, Waterball, were there,
Yeah.
it's all glass. It's cool.
And our dunk tanks. So that.
Oh, dunk tank.
Yeah, yeah, by the cafe.
So when's the last time we had a water ball in town? We still got the target?
I'm not sure. I would imagine,
Oh, you can
They won't-
Long time.
long time.
scan Yes.
Ordinance, sorry,
The
last
names are
time.
on the back.
What, just no interest or what?
Sure.
Yeah.
Don't know, just whatever?
They still do it at the fire convention,
Do they?
Do they?
as far as I know.
Because I don't know that there's anybody on the department probably that
Does
does.
it?
Well, we did, a lot of us did.
A lot of us, I think we were, one year we were third in state or something like that. Me, you, Ruben, and Chris Malta, I think.
Mhm.
Are these
There's a whole.
the uniforms don't look, are those Dunkerton guys or is it? Cause didn't other towns come to compete?
Oh,
Yeah, we had Waterball.
That was a big deal.
Oh,
Real big deal.
Had a big meal afterwards at the fire station, the post fire station.
Can you tell if those are Dunkerton guys or?
That looks like Tom Bagby in the white, but I don't remember his name.
That's a big guy, whoever it is.
The short guy, you know, but of course, he's kinda leaning down too.
They did it in the
Didn't
Dunkerton days.
Why?
Didn't they stretch the wire between fire trucks? Or
Yeah.
tractors or something?
Yeah, they had a big post and a cable, yeah, anything,
And then
anything
solid.
heavy.
Is that keg still around? Cause if we're not using it, we should put it in the museum.
It probably could be still done in the fire department up on the top.
It could be upstairs, yeah. up on the
That's the
hill.
last time I seen it was
There you go.
They're fighting.
The bank in the background too.
It looks like you're just trying to get them out of the way.
It's not, he's missing one.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of women that
It was
walked on
fun,
too.
I liked doing it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Where are these pictures coming from, Teresa?
So this album was, just left here, and it's got a whole bunch on Main Street and the water fights, and it's a really good.
Is that from the original collection that showed up?
Is
there?
that from
That's
you?
women fighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's,
the inch and a half line.
so original. Yeah,
So-
so I'm not even sure there wasn't any names or.
You may or may not know that the museum actually started like 10 years ago, so there's stuff down there that was deposited that we don't know where it came from. And this is apparently part of that.
This is a good book. It just has Magee Drug and. some really good-
It must have been after the fire.
Just somewhere
Six station.
come down.
Hey, which one is that?
Used to be Reichen
Okay,
66.
so the
No, it
northwest,
was this one.
or the northwest part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where the
Did
beauty
Bobby-
shop is now.
Did Bobby Wheeler also have that same station? Did
No, he had the
other one?
DX on the other side.
Okay, is there a pond, I gotta ask this,
Fire department.
it's off the subject totally, but on the other side of the co-op, didn't they used to over the
Sand
tracks?
pit.
That was,
Is it
Sand
still
Ray
pit.
there?
Dave's or Ray Dave's, that was Ray Dave, where Ray Dave's got his sand.
Is it still there?
You walk over and look.
Where are you,
Yeah,
you're
that's-
saying west of the co-op?
West of the,
Yeah.
no,
Across the
yeah,
tracks.
yeah.
I know where you're talking about.
Cause you used to go up over the tracks on a little road, cause I remember.
I don't wanna
when-
hear any more about what you did there.
No, my boys rode their bikes.
Whatever.
Very nice kids by the
Whatever.
time I moved here.
We used to swim there.
Did you?
I think the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
So the pond, it's
What
still
kid,
there?
what kid lived?
I haven't walked over
there.
there. I imagine it's still there.
Last
But
time I walked over it was there, but that's been a
So
few
how
years.
you get to it, but?
probably walk through the woods.
I don't know if you'd be able to find it. I'm gonna go look now that you.
I know.
I'm gonna
Well,
go-
I'm sure
I'm
you
gonna
can-
trust
You can just,
Well, I have to get across.
because the sand pit was, the nice sand pit was on the left, and on the right hand side, there was a water pond too, that we used to
Well,
put turtles and stuff.
Did the
on.
dump used to be back there too?
No, that was over by the railroad tracks off of Canfield,
Where the,
on the other
where the
side.
wood dump is?
Yeah, yeah, where the wood dump is now is where the original dump was.
There was a
Neighbor
grocery
saved
store.
Jarvis's life there, and then he married her.
Did he really?
Yeah, she was drowned.
She was drowned in,
Who's
down
that?
in sand pit?
Jane Jarvis,
Oh,
Bill saved her.
you ever swim down there, Rick?
Oh, yeah. Fish there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think every kid that lived in town got one now.
I bet every kid in town was told they couldn't go swimming down there though.
Wow.
George and Don.
I didn't even look at that on this one.
Yeah.
Don and George.
D&G, who's D? Who's G?
Don
Hayes
and George,
Jensen.
just-
Oh, yeah.
Don.
Yeah, I found a key ring at my house and I gave it to Teresa last time,
Yeah,
the D&G Tap.
and he was there, George had come, so
Yeah.
he shared his stories about being on Main Street.
Who's that?
Is that house right on Main Street?
Yeah.
Next to the,
No, next to,
Besides Joe Smith.
Joe Smith
Joe Smith's place.
and the
oh,
Used to be the hardware store. She gave away the best caramel apples at Halloween, but you had to hit it early.
Oh, Neva?
Yeah.
Neva Sicker.
Yeah, she used to have good caramel apples.
so is that downtown, the old post office, that was in Dunkerton?
No, that was a barber shop right there on the
Down
left.
half a block down. That's the north side of the building.
But on the right, is that, what's
No.
Dunkerton?
The flag with that sign, that's the library, or the old library.
Oh, yeah. No.
No, the flag is, that used to be the barber shop right there. Cause the next building is still there, but the building beyond that was American Legion Hall, it's no longer there. And then Knebel's garage was on the corner, and my dad and us, we tore down half of the garage, moved it down to our house.
Must've been Warsh Day, we have the clothes out.
Is that that
Earl
guy we
B.
couldn't-
Earl B.
Who's the other guy? Is that that guy we couldn't figure out from that first picture? That big-
You
No.
seem short.
Who is it?
I don't know, but that guy was younger.
I'm trying to figure out what he's got in his right hand.
Yeah, resetting it.
Monica, did you bring some pictures too?
I did.
Yeah.
That's where Bobby and Kathy Brington live now, Sandport.
On Main Street.
Oh,
Larry Logan bought that building, what was left of it, and redid it.
Did this one burn?
I think it was
Or is it
the
just-
warehouse portion burned.
Okay, tell me what that is.
Used to be Shimp's Silo Company. They used to make these, they'd make these
Silos.
cement stays to build silos. And they'd start this vibrating machine every morning, like at 6 o'clock in the morning when they started working, to vibrate the concrete. I remember going down there as a little kid. It was like,
So where did it sit?
behind, that building right there is still, on the right is still there. That's part of, Hector Electric now. Where this was is an empty lot now, between that and Crane Creek,
That's the alley that goes behind
the community hall. and stuff.
community.
Okay.
It was
With
Turner
electric
before it
was-
was Shimp's, wasn't it?
Huh?
Wasn't it Floyd Turner before it was Shimp?
Yes,
I
yeah.
don't want,
Tug Turner,
Tug Turner.
I always knew it was Shimp's.
yeah.
Yeah, show the hall, right? Just to show the difference.
It's just so different now, so much more modern now.
And then Shimp.
Those
Joe
are two
Smith's.
doors. There's 2 doors in the
Oh,
front.
it's not.
Yeah. Used to go back to the back room, the front room.
I guess that is it.
Back in the front.
Yeah.
I got that.
So Monica, back in the day, they used to show movies at the community hall, correct? That projector's still up there.
Is it? It's an antique.
I know where it should go.
So that bank went up in 1902.
And Dunkerton actually had its own currency.
Yep. National Bank of Dunkerton.
So we're finding out a lot of information.
We discovered recently that the Smithsonian collection includes 2 sets of Dunkerton currency proof sets. So there's 4 bills printed together, and these were the ones that they would have compared to make sure they matched. So so the Smithsonian has them. We're gonna write them a letter, see if they'll give them to them. No, we're not.
Cute guys identified.
I don't think they give anything back.
No, it's
They
not gonna
don't give anything back.
It's Frank Smith and Kenny Smith. I don't
Okay.
know who
And I
that is.
couldn't figure out who was behind it.
Yeah, okay, so you said
That's
Frank,
it.
That's Frank, and that's his dad, Kenny.
but we don't know. It almost looks like a shim. Just-
It looks like Bob Shimp.
I was saying,
Yeah,
it looks like
well, it
Bob
looks like
Shimp.
Bob Shim,
Mm.
yeah.
What,
So that's good.
what's that say, 60s?
68.
68?
I have to go.
I
I forgot all about it till Dan sent me that picture
Oh.
of the check. I was supposed to pick up Joe and the kids and go to Charles City.
So how many floods has Dunkerton had like that? At least
Happened to
3 or 4?
60, I remember that, because I was a kindergartner, and I can remember great grandpa Clarence on the front. I mean, I thought it was really neat, because you're a kid, and, yeah, it should become a-
Could you promote down Main Street?
Yes.
See you two take care.
I remember
That's
one in
from
the
the
1950s, and, I don't know if any of you remember Elsie Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all the ladies wore dresses then, and she lifted up her dress, you know, so it wouldn't get wet, and walked through the water.
Well, looking at that car, that dress would have been pretty high.
Yeah.
Just
She
saying.
lived another block up and down for a
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my dad woke up, because we lived right down by the locker plant, and it was flooding. My dad called Don Hayes and said, Don, get your boat down here, we're flooding. And Don's going, Dick, go back to bed. Did you drink last night? My dad's going, no, look outside, it's flooding. Because it came up so fast. He used to say, Don Hayes got his boat and come out, so.
Should have to do this.
When did the fire department get its first boat?
Not long ago. After they moved up here. But before that, like I said, it was not uncommon for almost anybody locally that owned a boat to show up.
That one's hard to even.
Is that the old phone office on the right there that we're,
Yeah, all the way to the
kind of what
right.
became the library?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that building, that white building next to it with the awning, I think that's where Peg's grocery store was,
What's the,
1950s.
so the little one is the barber shop when Faust had it?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Thousand.
Oh, Faust.
What does it say on the front of that white building, Tracy? Is that the? Is it Dunkerton?
It was, George Hafner before Fauser.
Even, yeah, I don't, it looks like there's writing.
Remember that name
Was the
too?
barber.
I can't hit the button.
Can't read it.
Here and here.
I think that was a post office for a while.
Which one?
The white
The
building.
white
White one?
building.
One of those previous building photos that showed the barber shop, there was a big Dunkerton up in the corner. It was a,
I think you're right, Mike.
Yeah, I think that was the post office.
After Peg's grocery store, then it was the post office,
okay, thank you.
and then it moved
Yeah,
down
post
to,
office.
The corner down by the veterans.
yeah, by the Baptist church.
Cause that was Dick's.
Yeah,
Dick's grocery,
Dick's
yeah.
grocery store.
Gee, so we got about a half hour official left. You wanna show us some of Monica's?
Yeah,
Or
that would be
have us-
wonderful.
I tried to mark, some of these are kind of duplicates of what you'd seen before with those original people. I might have more, I've got some more totes I need to look through.
Remember your grandmother was really trying to explain it to you, and there it was, and you didn't have to.
Two of my high school buddies got the ones that are there.
Where I did that, I was in
Monica, do you know where
Russ-
South Town was? Where was
It's
it?
marked on the back.
Yeah, May 9th, 1976.
Because that one guy looks like it's Mike.
Galen Matthews.
I was more than my neighborhood, I went to the neighbors at night, because we didn't have TV, so.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But that's Nick right there.
No, but people ask, honestly, I don't know.
Could be.
We just didn't go. So what do we got here, Monica?
Well, this is, the old firemen, that'd be Glenn Shimp, my dad, and Carl Myers. And that's, again, back, you know, this, 47.
There it is. How many of those guys were vet, Glenn, or, Carl, I know he was World War II, wasn't he?
Oh, I'm sure he was, yeah. It'd be Dave Prenny, Carl Myers, Ambrose, maybe Glenn Shimp, Claude Mack, and that's Ed Polege on the end there.
Yeah, you win, you're right.
Pretty sure his daughter just died, Monica, not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Vinnie Brown, I'm pretty sure that was Ed Leahy's daughter. She married Presley Brown.
How shiny that truck is.
Shiny.
I'd like to see it look like that again.
I would love to see that.
That's Ed Polege.
Where did he live, Monica?
He lived,
In town?
yeah, on East Main Street, maybe the third house from the end, on the north side.
What do you do?
Couldn't tell you. That'd be Ed Polege again.
What would it take to get that fire truck looking like that?
Money.
Well, what shape's it in on, is
I
it?
think that's my brother Mike.
Yep, that's definitely wrong.
Didn't he have a firefighter funeral? I think we have some pictures of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to Rick. Rick was fire chief at the time.
Was his dad in service, or he was fire chief at the time, or how did that?
No. Well, Mike was still on
Just
the
a firefighter forever.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the expert on the old truck there. He got it running. Remember when he got it running for us?
Mm-hmm.
I can't read what that says. This unit is
1987
still
Ford.
in service. The firemen on board represent 90 years of service to the Dunkerton Fire Department.
Are there any of those Knebels that didn't have a nickname?
I think the girls. I think all the boys had nicknames, huh?
You never heard their real names. Almost never.
Yeah, like Duke and.
Duke and all.
Is this
What was Mitch?
training, is that, or?
I would say that's
Is
probably
there
training the way
anything
to
on the
look at it. Yeah,
Training. Dave
Training.
Randall.
With
Dave
a,
and,
a little casual there.
It's really like their gear, don't you?
Is that the motors in there?
And it looks like there's an engine sitting there. I don't know.
Well, you guys are thorough. When did the Jaws of Life come in?
We had a real old heavy set in 1980.
Yeah. That's gotta be one of them. There's my.
And George? Is that George Jensen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Who's the victim?
Pam.
Pam?
You-
Not that it's a contest, Monica, but what family has offered up the most firefighters? Sounds like Knebel's would be in the running there.
Easily.
Definitely the most fire chiefs. That's what they. G.
Knebel.
Monica Smith.
Knebel.
Look at
Oh,
Monica.
there you
Look
go.
at Monica Smith there.
Skinny, dark hair.
That's
impressive.
Hey, how many Knebels are in that picture?
Yeah. Most of them.
All the George.
3, 4, 5.
Cool.
They all could go somewhere at the same time.
George was Rusty's dad.
Yeah.
Rusty was the Now Smith, is that Calvin's dad?
So technically it was wrong.
Should have changed the name of the town.
It goes.
Hate it when that happens.
Monica's doing CPI there.
Jennifer's Angelos' daughter, is that right?
When's the last time the school did one of those emergency trainings where you had the fake accent?
I'm not sure.
There again, we do like mass casualty trainings at the airport. And departments would come from all over for a training like that. A lot of times they had school kids as victims.
It's like Tom Bagby with nice
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah, it is Tom Bagby. I like he's handling that piece of burnt wood there.
Yeah, that's.
Looks like it's still smoking, it's still like smoke.
Fair,
I don't need no glove.
There's nothing in that picture that shocks me. Not one thing.
Good picture. Who took the picture, Monica, do you know, was it firefighters?
This one, actually.
That's gotta be still, that's drug house.
Yeah.
There's no way you get around to take pictures.
We're talking about Bagby.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember that one.
We actually have it cataloged, so.